apologize for the wind. Before we begin, we must acknowledge the historical reality of the land we're gathered on today. It is too often forgotten that most of the people here are settlers on these lands. Guelph is situated on the territory of the Attawandaron people and is part of the treaty territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit. This area has also been home to other First Nations, including the Haudenosaunee and other Anishinaabe peoples. We offer our respect to our First Nations, Métis, and Inuit neighbors, and all other Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We should remember the significance of the Dish with One Spoon covenant. This is the land from which we all eat, and we must take only what we need and ensure that plenty will always remain for those who come after us. As we raise our voices and put our hands to work reshaping the systems and institutions which cause this climate catastrophe, those same words and deeds must always be in solidarity with the centuries-long struggle for Indigenous emancipation. We are Extinction Rebellion, an autonomous chapter of the international movement which is today in 42 countries declaring an international rebellion to raise the alarm about the climate and ecological emergency that may well cause our extinction and many others. The planet is in crisis. We are in the midst of the sixth mass extinction, this one caused by us. Conventional campaigning like lobbying, marching, petitions, rallies, and other forms of activism have not achieved the massive transformation of our society and economy that the situation requires. The change necessary to avert the worst of disaster is still technically and economically feasible, but our federal, provincial, and municipal governments have failed to take action, ignoring the advice of our climate scientists, marine biologists, and other environmental advocates. The inaction of our government is criminal and negligent. Shame! Rebellion is justified when a government has failed to protect its people. In fact, we have a moral duty to rebel, whatever our politics. Extinction Rebellion members are ordinary people who care deeply about this world and are determined to do whatever we can to stop the destruction of life on Earth. And with that, we have 4 demands. Number 1, we demand that our governments tell the truth about how deadly our situation is and work with other institutions to communicate the urgency for change. Number 2, that the government enact legally binding policies with a World War II scale mobilization to reduce carbon emissions to net zero by 2025. Reduce the amount of greenhouse gases currently in the atmosphere, and halt biodiversity loss. Number 3, that the government empower the people to hold them accountable by instituting a People's Assembly, a radically democratic institution to oversee the transition and to ensure that the government is accountable to the people it governs. Number 4, finally, we demand a just transition that prioritizes the people most vulnerable to ecological catastrophes, Indigenous people, marginalized communities, and economic and political minorities of all kinds. To those ends, I bring forward a motion to you, the people of Guelph. Whereas the city of Guelph has failed to take sufficient action to address the existential crisis that is climate change, and whereas we, the people gathered here, have the power and the will to change the systems and institutions that brought about this catastrophe, be it resolved that as this People's Assembly of Guelph declares here at City Hall that we are in a state of climate and ecological emergency. All those in favor, say aye. Aye!